What is up, Doom Patrol fans? We are back with yet another episode review and breakdown for Doom Patrol Season 2, this time for Episode 7, Dumb Patrol. If I'm being honest, this episode wasn't really that great, but there were some cool parts, but it was very, very slow. And sure, a lot of stuff happened, but it didn't really help develop the overall main plot of the season. And even at the end, the cliffhangers weren't really that big, and they were more just confusing. But anyways, before I get into all of that, everything that happened in the episode and my thoughts on the episode, I gotta give a major spoiler warning if you have not yet seen this episode of Doom Patrol. So go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But now that you've been warned, let's break down all the spoilers for the episode. So, this episode does continue to show the aftermath of last episode's cliffhanger of Niles stranding and abandoning Cliff in space. And we see that he just comes flying back to Earth, just goes straight through the sign, which is actually for Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man's autobiography. So I guess that's not getting much advertisement now, because the billboard was broken. So that's not good for that, not good for business. But once Cliff does actually get back up on his feet, he just starts walking back to Doom Manor because he doesn't really have any other choice. Because anytime he tries to hitch a ride with someone, they won't give him a ride because he's just some random strange robot. So they think he's scary and stuff. But on his way there, he definitely has an interesting journey. But it's not really anything that was really major. So he met up with this guy that wanted him to do some shout outs and stuff, and he was vaping and stuff, but nothing really important really went on there. So I'm kind of just gonna skip over the filler stuff and just get into the main stuff that happened in this episode. Because at the end of the episode, we have a big part for Cliff when he ends up back at Doom Manor. And this is where he sees that his daughter is there waiting for him. So Clara apparently received the chief's confession of everything he did to Cliff. So now she actually believes him. She knows that that's her father. And I'll be interested to see how things go from here. Because honestly, she of course probably feels super bad for him because, first of all the things that happened to him, but also he tried to reconnect with his daughter, but then she just called the cops on him and everything. So she's gotta feel bad. But we do know that the next episode is called Dad Patrol, so it's probably going to focus on the father relationships of this show, and that this storyline is probably going to play a big part in the next episode. But speaking of parent relationships, let's move on to Rita, who is having some problems with her mom still, even though she's been dead for ages. So we know that Rita is a part of this community play, and apparently she is playing the role of the beekeeper. So that's definitely a big important role, even though she only has one line. But she goes to shadow the local beekeeper so she can get an idea of what the character's motivation is and stuff like that. And throughout this experience, she's telling the beekeeper about her mom and everything that's basically just going on with her and the stress. And then the beekeeper basically just tells her that at the time her mother may have been doing that just because she loved Rita and she just wanted the best for her daughter, so that's why she did that. And she didn't do it specifically to ruin her life, and she didn't know that would be what would happen because of that. She was just doing it for Rita, but turns out it didn't work out so well. So Rita just kind of has to come to terms with that, and that wasn't her mother's intention, but now she has to just move on into her own life here. And we do see at the end she does do a little bit of a superhero type thing, and she does save a guy from getting mugged, but not really anything special unless she's going to officially be called the beekeeper, because she showed up, used her superpowers in the beekeeper outfit. So that was a little weird but funny at the same time. But anyway, let's move on to the main storyline of the episode. And yes, I know I'm moving a little fast on this stuff, but honestly, most of the stuff that happened in this episode with Cliff and Rita's storyline didn't really... Well, it wasn't really that important, so I'm kind of skipping over it and just sticking to the more important stuff. So, like I said, the main storyline. It's all about Vic, Ronnie, Miranda, and Larry, because they're enjoying life with Miranda because apparently she is a lot more peaceful and, like, she can try to bring the group together and just trying to prevent everyone from making bad decisions, which is basically what this whole storyline was about. Bad decisions. So it all started when this crate arrived at the doorstep of Doom Manor, and even though the whole box was covered in stamps of "Do not open" and like on the front, the side, the back, everything, they opened it up anyway. And when they opened it up, they found the painting that was previously holding Beardmaster and Mr. Nobody. But basically, everyone gets taken over by this, like, curse or this purple fumes. And, well, it's kind of like these... We've got the villain of the week here, which is the Scants. So they're kind of like a bug infestation type thing. These pink, spiky creatures. I don't really know how to explain them, but they're freaky and they're weird. But they have infested these characters and caused them to all now make bad decisions, except for Miranda, who is able to not... She's basically immune to that stuff. But when the Doom Patrol members actually jump into the painting, this is when we meet up with the Beard Hunter, and this is one of my favorite parts of the episode, because it was just so meta and so fourth wall breaky-y, I guess you could say. Because when you first see Beard Hunter, the first thing you see is he's standing there, in his underwear, of course, but on the back of his underwear is the big face of Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go, of course, the animated Teen Titans cartoon that's on Cartoon Network right now. So that was really cool and really interesting. But when the Doom Patrollers question where Mr. Nobody is, the Beard Hunter says that he just got a gig with some animated thing, and this was another huge reference, because if you're not aware, Alan Tudyk, who voices he played Mr. Nobody in the first season. He actually voices the Joker on the Harley Quinn animated series for DC Universe as well. So that's probably one of the main reasons he's not in this season. But I just like that huge meta reference to explain why he wasn't there. So I love this part, but Beard Hunter's only in this one scene. So that was a little disappointing, and I hope we see more of him from this. But basically all he was doing here was trying to hide from the Scants. That's why half of his body was painted white to blend in and everything. But the Doom Patrollers, except for Miranda, like I said, were infested with the Scant, and now they're all making bad decisions and everything. So they're really acting very childlike, which I really love seeing. Like Larry being so unresponsible in this episode, that was awesome to see. And then Miranda was kind of like the parent or the mother figure here, trying to keep them in line and keep them from doing anything that they'd eventually regret, because, well, obviously they did make some bad decisions here, because they actually literally volunteered to be taken hostage by the Scants. So it actually ended up working out in their favor in the end, because the whole way to get rid of the Scants is to have to kill the Queen. So they met up with the Queen, and then they killed her, and all the Scants just like exploded, and pink jelly went all over everyone. So that was nasty, but it happened, and it was cool seeing these Scants creatures. I doubt we'll ever see them again, because they did turn into jelly, but it was definitely cool seeing them in this episode. But after everyone back to normal, we get a little bit of character development here, like how Vic said that he loves Ronnie and everything, so that was great there. And then how also Larry, even though he didn't get to actually physically visit his grandson in the hospital, he knows that he's okay, he knows he's fine and everything, so he doesn't have to live with the pain and the guilt that, his grandson's dead because of him. No, because he's okay, even though I thought he was dead. So he's all good. But probably the big thing to take away from this is with Miranda, or actually I guess technically Jane, because this takes place in the underground, and it follows Jane because, well, I don't remember the personality specifically. Actually, maybe her name was Penelope or something. But anyway, she was worried that Scarlet Harlot was wrong with her because she didn't show up to book club that week. So Jane goes to look, and apparently Scarlet Harlot's station is closed. So something shady is clearly going on here. I'm not sure if she's dead or she ran away and she's hiding, or if she got kidnapped. But my theory is that this has to do with Miranda, and Miranda isn't as nice as she seems to be. Like, she's good and nice to everyone around her, but then secretly she's evil, and maybe she's like secretly kidnapping or killing all these personalities and just throwing them down the well, because why else would she be so adamant that Baby Doll and the Fire Warrior were thrown down the well? There has to be some sort of ulterior motive here. So I think that's what's going on there, but let me know down in the comments below what you think is going on there. But now let's get into our final storyline of the episode, which centers around the Chief. So he has gone to the place where he met Dorothy's mother, and he's gone to visit her, even though we know she's dead. But he wants to like talk to her spirit. And of course he's got his winter jacket because it's a bit chilly out there. And instead of getting to talk to her, though, the big fire pit thingy, spirit thing that's going on there is instead he ends up talking to the candlemaker, because apparently Dorothy is cursed. And this was part of her from the beginning. Candlemaker has always been a part of her, and he always will be. Like, she can never escape him. But then during the very last scene of the episode, we see that Willoughby Kipling has shown up again. And yeah, he was in the rest of the episode too, but he didn't really have as big of a role when he was there with the Doom Patrol members fighting the Scants. But he shows up here with the Chief, and Niles was talking to him, and he's like, tomorrow is my last day or something. So I think that basically means that tomorrow he'll be dead and he has 1 day left to live. So he's just trying to get things together, and Willoughby Kipling is going to have something to do with it. I don't know if it's like he's going to be in control of what happens to Dorothy, and he's going to send her wherever the Chief wants her to go, or if he's going to deal with the Chief's death or something. Like, I'm not completely sure, but like I said, this was all super confusing. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that happened in this episode of Doom Patrol Season 2. Like I said, probably the weakest episode of the season so far, but it was still overall a good episode, just not compared to the other episodes of the season. And I loved seeing the Scants. I love seeing more Candlemaker and all that stuff. I love seeing Miranda here. But there were just some confusing parts here. So let me know down in the comments below if you can clarify anything that went on here that I was a bit confused about, which was basically everything. But yeah, so thanks so much, guys. Thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC Life.